Welcome to Rising Tides Live. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. It's Friday, which means it is Pitch the Tide. It is our restaurant technology showcase show. So if you are a restaurant technology brand and you want to pitch the tide and get feedback, we are a community of restaurateurs, hospitality professionals, storytellers, and people obsessed with digital hospitality. And we want to hear from you. So email us, podcast@calibbq.media. Every Friday, we do this Pitch the Tide series. It has been going phenomenal. Today, we have Beth Hussey. She is the CEO and founder of Shifty. I'm very excited for today's episode because this is my first interaction with Beth, and she gets to meet the community, pitch what she's building and why she's building it. And more importantly, then we can give feedback. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram, please join the show. Go to betheshow.media/rising tides. That way we can get you on stage. We can learn a little bit about what you're building, and we can give Beth some feedback or ask her some questions. Let's go ahead and bring and welcome Beth. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited to learn about what you're building and why you're building it. So I will go ahead and give you the floor and welcome. Go for it.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited. It's fun to go from the restaurant industry into restaurant tech. It's such a tight-knit community, and I feel like being here means I've finally arrived. So it's pretty exciting. So you ready for me to get started? Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to start with my tagline and say I'd love a thumbs up to see how you guys like my tagline. We got it trademarked. It's working really well for me. Anyway, hello, everybody. I'm Beth. I am the founder of Shifty. I'm also a restaurateur. I've been in the restaurant business really my whole life. I grew up in the business. I've had a successful career, kind of worked my way up through the ranks over the years. I was a sweat equity partner in a number of really successful concepts. I love creating concepts, so I was able to create a couple of smash hits here in the Detroit market with other people's money, and all that led me to where I am today. I currently own a restaurant. It's a nice, popular 10,000 square foot seafood concept in a suburb of Detroit. It's in Birmingham, Michigan. And like I mentioned, this is my first solo venture. So it's my first time having my actual own skin in the game. And as luck would have it, we opened right before COVID hit, of course. And everyone here, I'm sure you all know that was a tough time for all of us. But while we were closed for COVID, strange phenomenon for me. First time in my adult life, I wasn't going to work all day, every day. And so I decided to dive into this project, basically passion project, something I'd always dreamt of doing, but never really had the time or the money, which was to figure out a way to turn a unique way of training restaurant workers that I developed way back in the early 90s into a technology platform. So it's kind of cool. I sort of discovered very early in my career that training and employee development is my passion. It's what I love about the business, anything having to do with the employee experience. I developed a paper-based way of training restaurant workers. I opened over 20 full-service concepts. I've gotten a reputation of being really good at this. And so during COVID, I dove in and I figured out how to get software developed, and I learned about tech startups, which is a whole nother kind of animal. And I raised the money I needed, and we launched about 3 years ago. We spent the first year doing a pretty intense beta testing period where I kind of hand selected a number of different types of operations to kind of put the program in play, where I could keep my arms wrapped around it. We learned a lot in that first year. And then I just started bringing on paying customers kind of one at a time, with me wearing all the hats: sales, support, onboarding, and also running my restaurant. And then it took me about a year to get to my first milestone of my first 100 locations. And now that was about a year ago. And now we're over 800 locations. So it's pretty cool. We've gotten here pretty organically. We've recently been, putting a little fuel on the marketing fire, so to speak. But everyone always asks, what's the best type of restaurant for Shifty? It's a really flexible system. I haven't met a restaurant that isn't a good fit for Shifty. I have, however, met some restaurateurs that aren't necessarily a good fit. You've got to be someone who's ready to embrace technology, but we've got everything from, quick service. I've got ice cream shops, coffee shops, multi-location, emerging brands, quick service concepts, all the way up to some like really high-end steakhouses and ski lodges and things like that, and really everything in between. It's pretty cool to me to see how people take the platform, use it in their own unique way, mold it into what they want it to be. It says a lot about the platform. So our mission is to solve the biggest problem in the restaurant industry, which is turnover and retention. There's some crazy statistics in the industry. They say the average amount of time that a worker stays at a job in the United States is 1 month and 26 days. Turnover is at a all-time high of 75%. And even, there's some restaurant operators that see much higher turnover than 75%. I'm talking to Five Guys right now, and they are telling me they see north of 200%, which is just insane. And there's a big cost associated with having to replace a restaurant worker. So, it is my philosophy that the main solution to this problem, it really has to do with what I call the employee experience. I'm always telling my managers that our employees are our most important asset. It's important to make a great first impression on your new employee. If you've got a slick training program and, a new person comes in, everyone knows right what to do and seems very engaged in their success. Just makes them feel like they've made a good decision and they're in good hands. And you just got to clearly define the job you want them to do, give them all the tools they need to be successful. And then you just got to be a good place to work by keeping them engaged. So moving on to Shifty, kind of the way Shifty is designed is just like any other restaurant technology platform. There's two sides to the platform. There's the back end, the web app. It's a cloud-based software platform where managers and owners go to manage their content, and then it feeds it out to a mobile application that the employees have on their own personal devices. A couple of things. So think of it as like a content management system. So the restaurant has a lot of content that they got to get to the employees, and it feeds it to them on their mobile device. It's a native Apple and Android app. The technology is really slick. It just works really well. It's not heavily dependent on an internet connection, and it runs on smartphones or tablets. Kind of sort of the overarching, to give you an idea of what we do and how we do it. First things first is we help restaurants train their new employees. So all restaurants are in this constant cycle of hiring and training. In my opinion, most of the systems overly complicate the training process. We do exactly the opposite, and we overly simplify the training process. We use interactive training checklists. We use flashcards to deliver the information you want your employees to know and memorize, and then they're tested on their flashcards. So basically what it does is it gives the restaurant the ability to create this training experience that's very repeatable, very measurable. It's automated. The system does all the work for you, just ensures everybody gets all the information they're supposed to get. And then the next piece, and this is the one piece that I think really sets us apart from all the other platforms on the market, is what I call our menu catalog. So we give folks the ability to catalog their offerings. I say offerings, it's not just their main menu items, but sauces, ingredients, bar products like wine, beer, cocktails, whatever it is the restaurant's doing that whatever they have that they want their employee to have some knowledge about, it gives them the ability to catalog it. Got a great tagging system. Restaurants can associate recipes and SOPs. It's really, what it's doing is it's putting all the information, like product knowledge information, in the palm of your employees' hands. We're living in a world where every bit of information is available to us on any given day. And when we need information, where do we go? We go to our phones. And so it's working really well for restaurants right now. The next piece is engagement. I've been talking about engagement and company culture since the early 90s, but only recently has it become a big buzzword in the industry. We take a gamified approach to engagement. Flashcards is one example of the way we kind of keep the employees engaged. There's so much science and psychology around why flashcards are such an effective way to train. But the bottom line is we've got short attention spans. Being able to boil the information down into these small bite-sized bits of information is just really effective. It's especially, I always say the Gen Z workers, right? In the restaurant industry, we're always kind of working with the youngest generation of workers. I've been managing young people for a long time, and it's like learning a new language every time there's a new generation. The Gen Zers are my favorite though, man. They just kind of want to know the mission, and they want to know what's the mission and how do I help you deliver it, and what more could you want out of an employee. A few other things here. We've got a resource library where you can store and keep your content. Checklists. So many restaurants operate on a series of checklists, so it gives the restaurant visibility and accountability into what's getting done. Scheduling is an interesting part of what we're doing. I did not plan to be a scheduling platform, but it wasn't until I started bringing on paying customers, they all wanted it to do scheduling as well. So I made a big decision about a year in to build a scheduling interface. And when it actually dawned on me that I was going to get to create my own scheduling interface after using all the other ones and really complaining about all the other ones for so many years, it was a little bit of a dream come true for me, and also sort of had to put my money where my mouth is and see if I can develop one that I think is better. So we ended up with a really interesting scheduling interface. We've kind of taken an unconventional approach to scheduling. We've ditched the whole spreadsheet mentality and created a way of scheduling that is actually how actual restaurant managers think when they're creating a schedule. So it's a really interesting part of what we're doing. And then there's, of course, a whole bunch of reporting and tracking and metrics and things like that. The way our business works is restaurants pay a monthly subscription. They pay per location. A few things that set us apart. One is we don't charge by the user. So your price is your price. The employees don't have to pay for the app. We don't a la carte the features and functions. So our customers have access to every feature we offer now and in the future. And then last but not least, there's no contract. It's month to month. Folks can cancel at any time. These are all these things I've been, you can imagine I've been implementing lots of technology systems in my career over the years. And these were always the things that kind of, gave me pause a little bit when I was making decisions. So the real value we bring is in our implementation service. So I always say that implementing any piece of technology is a pretty overwhelming undertaking. It can seem like an overwhelming task for restaurateurs. Most companies will charge a one-time upfront implementation fee. On top of charging for it, they'll also kind of expect you to sort of drop what you're doing and do some or all of the work right along with them. This has always been an issue for me. As I said, I've implemented many systems in my career. I've actually failed at implementing more systems than I've succeeded at, because you get into it and it's like, I don't have the time for this. And then even if I do have the time for it, once it's up and running, it's going to be like a full-time job for someone to manage. And that's just not realistic in the real restaurant world, in my opinion. So I finally had the chance to kind of start my own company, and I did it differently. I kind of designed my whole company around this one concept where, one, Shifty is very easy to manage. Once it is set up and running, it kind of runs on autopilot, and it's not a full-time job for a manager, to manage. It actually just has tools that make the manager's life easier, not harder. And then we also do all of the heavy lifting. We do all of the implementation work. We're able to do it without needing really any of the restaurant operators' time and attention, and we don't charge for it. So pretty big, bold move. We're able to do it. We've got some company-facing AI tools that make it very easy for us to create the menu catalog and create their recipes and their SOPs and stuff like that. And then also Shifty comes kind of preloaded with a ton of universal training content that any restaurant can use as a starting point. So pretty powerful tool that we offer. And then this is the last slide. This is my pricing model. pricing has been a little bit of a moving target for me. In the restaurant business, it's pretty easy to figure out what to charge for stuff. It's math, right? I know how much it costs us to make it. And that tells me what I should charge. Very different in the tech space. This is all based on what I know other systems cost, but we basically created a sliding scale. We created these 3 buckets. We've got quick service, and full service with the liquor license. It's really more related to like the size of the operation and the scope of the project. So it's a sliding scale. The platform doesn't change at all in any of those buckets. It really has to do more with how many employees you have and how big of an operation is it. Of course, for enterprise customers with multiple locations, I always get to this part of the presentation and say first and foremost, let's see the platform and determine if it seems like you're a fit for the platform and it can bring value to your business, and then we'll come up with a price that makes sense for you. And that is it.
Beth, that was awesome.
Oh, nice.
Seriously, it's so cool for us. I mean, we've been doing shows since 2017 is when we launched our first podcast. And, so much of my hope was that I could talk to other business owners that had the same questions that I had, and then bring on people that were in technology, in branding, in market, just a wealth of resources. And to be here today, this started on Clubhouse and now we're live streaming on multiple platforms. And the fact that you're a restaurateur and you're building technology, I mean, it's so admirable. And the branding, number one, my feedback is the branding is phenomenal. Awesome. We work with and we see a lot that's in the market when it comes to storytelling. That's why we believe so much in branding, because how you present yourself is whether people want to, we say we don't judge a book by its cover, but if we're honest, we all judge a thumbnail. We all judge, what we're going to watch, what we're going to engage in, a booth that we're going to stop by at a restaurant show. The branding is amazing. Is the restaurant still open? You're running that, right? Yeah, the restaurant that you own is 10,000 square foot seafood restaurant.
Yeah, we're killing it over there too. Our sales are up and up. It's a pretty fun place.
That's amazing. Well, Beth, I'm going to introduce you to Mike Ungaro, the seafood king of Long Beach and Southern California. He's part of our Rising Tide community. I'm sure you guys can share war stories about running seafood restaurants. But Mike, go ahead, introduce yourself real quick, and then give Beth some feedback and ask her any questions.
Sure. Sorry, I had to relocate. I was too far from my router. Dave's been changing on a whim today.
I got to get you some Eero Wi-Fi, Mike.
Yeah.
I'll talk to the team and get you hooked up.
As long as I can get to the part of my backyard where I want to smoke my cigar.
Yeah. Eero will figure it out. I'll talk to the team over there. They'll get you hooked up.
Beautiful. So Michael Ungaro, CEO, visionary, Kings of Fish, our show. That's our TV show that's streaming on Amazon Prime, and it's based on my family's business, which is the San Pedro Fish Market. We also opened a new seafood concept location about 6 weeks before the pandemic.
So funny.
That might be why my internet went down. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, my family's been in the seafood business it's going to be 70 years. Our main location on the waterfront in LA has been a little bit in flux because they're redeveloping it. But we're in a temporary spot where we'll be while we rebuild. We had to leave because they're redeveloping the waterfront, but we're still in the same area. This spot has on 33,000 square feet. It's got 1,600 or 1,700 seats, more or less. It's kind of a hybrid concept what we do, where you pick out your own seafood and then we cook it for you, and it's mostly family style, almost all family style. The Long Beach location we're at before the pandemic is more of a traditional restaurant. So we're sort of, as we're expanding, because we're also opening a location in Northern California on the Fisherman's Wharf, which will be 17,000 square feet. I think I know I'm always on the hunt for where AI can fit in, and I missed a lot of what you were speaking, so I may have missed a little bit of the offer, but it sounds really intriguing. I'm curious, what do you see as and you may have spoke this, and I apologize if I missed it, but what do you see as the biggest breakdown for you in the restaurant industry that you're able to solve with this? Like, what do people typically come to you and say, hey, I don't know how to deal with this. Can your offer or product help?
Yeah, that's a great question. But before I answer it, did you say 1,500 seats?
Well, we had 3,000, basement. We had to shrink down to rebuild. So now we're down
to shrink down.
What the? Yeah, my place was big. That's crazy. God bless you. But yeah, that's a great question that you asked. That I say kind of the biggest thing is like, first of all, you'd be surprised to know how many restaurants, when you say, how are you training? How are you training today? Like when you hire a new employee, what do you do? Most of them are like, wing and a prayer. Basically, we stick them with whoever happens to be the best person scheduled on the floor that day, and it's their problem to figure out like how to show them the ropes, right? And it's usually like presented like, surprise, you're training, and that guy's like, oh man, what did I do to deserve this punishment? It's like the worst way you can introduce a new employee to a restaurant. But the bottom line is like training manuals, or like places that do consider themselves good at training, even in today's world, still are using paper. And your stuff is in a 3-ring binder. And in my opinion, especially young people, Gen Zers, and maybe even old people like me, we don't read anymore. So reading long, documents or training manuals, even watching long videos are kind of a thing of the past. We've got a short attention span. So every restaurant that's on this constant cycle of hiring and training, it doesn't matter if you're, selling shots and French fries, or you're doing like really nice high-end seafood. You've got all this information you got to get in the employee's brain. And doing it on paper or with a 3-ring binder just is not effective anymore. So that's the main problem we solve, is delivering the message.
I'll tell you that as we've been expanding and growing, and we never had really any training, man. It was just like you said, go in there. Today is your first weekend. We're going to give you this horse brush, which is really a fish scaler to us, and a knife. You're going to spend all weekend scaling fish this way, because you would buy the whole fish and we'd prep it, then you bring it to the kitchen. The next weekend we give you a knife, assuming you got the first weekend right. But that was really it. It was never written down. It was just like kind of mimic and follow. And now as we're expanding into other locations, it just doesn't work, because there's not enough of us to be 12 miles away simultaneously, and 6 hours in Northern California. So I was asking the other day, like, where are the processes and training manuals? And like, well, we're trying to get them all on paper and put them in a binder. I swear to God, that's what they said.
Stop it.
Why?
Yeah. Stop it.
I mean, do I drive over there and read it? Like, I don't understand why we're doing that.
Yeah.
How big is the printer that's going into Monterey?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like, I was a little shocked. So I'm like, I was happy Shawn said, hey, join today. Cause I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I'm dealing with.
Yeah. It's funny because I swear to God, no joke. I was presenting to a group of people, and there was a young Gen Zer, and they actually didn't know what a 3-ring binder was.
Yeah, right.
I used the term 3-ring binder. They're like, what's a 3-ring binder? I was like, you gotta be kidding. But I mean, that just speaks volumes, no pun intended, to what, where the world is today.
I hate paper. No offense to paper.
Yeah.
You're wonderful.
Yeah.
But
paper. I'm pretty sure paper will be okay, Mike.
Yeah.
Paper's just fine.
I'll take trees.
That's so funny.
Paper's
just
great.
Thank you,
That's fine. Awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. To meet you.
Thank you, Mike. Elizabeth Doss, go ahead. Quick introduction and any feedback for Beth, and or any questions you have.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Elizabeth Doss here. I'm a social media content creator and manager, and I also create animated GIFs for you to use to brand out across platforms, to be able to have quick responses and make people smile throughout the day and bring some joy. Great presentation, Beth. I was right there with you, because when you started talking about Five Guys and the 200% turnover, and I'm like, geez, like the people that do the training have to be exhausted in the sense of like, is this person actually going to stay after we get through all of this? And what I love about the offer is that they could, if they wanted to, once they get linked into the system, they could step onto the property and already have a head start. So that they can get into the rhythm of the things. So I really love that part of it. And my one question, I guess, is because you were talking about the ease that managers can use it, et cetera. And what I was thinking about is, incidences happen in the restaurant where you need to adjust or add to the training. So the next crop of people will be able to not do the thing that the person that just did the thing did. And so I'm just curious about adding in and mixing in new content, how easy that is for people to update what they need to. So that was my question.
Yeah, that's a great question. It is very, very simple to update. And if, I always say, I use the example, like especially the flashcard content. Flashcards is everybody's favorite part. And it's like, we kind of gamify it as a new employee goes through the training process. They sort of unlock new flashcards and then they study them. We gamify it and then they get tested on their flashcards, which is this actual interactive experience that happens between two humans. And that's one of the things that's really unique about Shifty. But it's so easy for a manager to like create a new flashcard on the fly, which there's so much like, it's like, oh yeah, like I just saw employee chewing gum. So it's like, oh, I got to add that to the flashcards. And so they can quickly literally speak into their phone and create a new flashcard that gets added to the deck. But the systems, I've got a couple of wizards that did my technology and I'm so lucky to have them. And our tech is like really, really slick and easy to use. Just to answer your question, it's not hard to teach a manager how to use the tech. The thing I struggle with or that I focus all my attention on is like why to use it. It's really more the philosophy behind it, right? It's the tech is easy. It's the why that I focus on.
Yeah, Beth, I wanted to. I have an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old girl. My daughter, and they use flashcards, obviously, to learn multiplications tables.
Yeah.
This is a separate subject, but I don't know why the digital hospitality in education is so poor. But the amount of apps that I have to log into that don't work, that don't talk to each other, it's like this is fragment. I'm like, I thought this just happened in restaurants, but no, apparently education has the same thing. So I don't know. Maybe it's another vertical for you to tackle once you tackle restaurants. But I understand. I mean, flashcards, digital flashcards make so much sense. And I love the fact that you can add it on the fly. Mike Biseglia, what's your feedback for Beth?
Yeah, thank you, Shawn. And Mike Biseglia, producer, Cali BBQ Media, podcaster, podcast about the Brooklyn Nets and New York Knicks. So looking forward to doing that. Only Nets and Knicks podcast that is available. But yeah, no, Beth, first I want to just say, I've been with Cali BBQ now like a year plus, and I've learned so much about
over
the
a year.
restaurant industry.
Did we break a year, Mike?
Yeah, we're a year.
Come on, there we go, crushing it.
Which is crazy. And
crushing
when I first started, like my restaurant knowledge, especially on the tech side, was not great. But I've learned so much, and it's really exciting for me just to come in here, hear you pitch, Beth, and just learn about all these new technologies has been awesome. And you made a comment I was interested in about how you adapted with schedules for people. So I was curious, is there any other like, how do I phrase it? Is there anything else that people have come to you and talked about and like we're looking to adapt, or something that was not just schedules, but something that, on the fly, they were like, this could be useful for our restaurant, or anything besides scheduling that has caught people's attention?
How do you say no?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm sure you guys talk to restaurant tech people all the time. I'm sure this is a thing. But honestly, like I feel our from the day we launched the MVP to where it's at today, like it's come a long, long way. And a lot of the features and functions have all like kind of developed as a result of people making suggestions or asking, for the platform. That's the one thing about being a cool new tech startup is we're a small but mighty team. We're nimble, right? Like, so someone can sort of inform the way the platform works if they want. So that's a really exciting part. But yeah, we do constantly, well, especially the scheduling specifically, like scheduling, you can imagine, was an undertaking. It's like the only sort of mission critical part of what we do, so it's got a lot of our attention, but constantly, like almost every day, I thought I knew it all for scheduling, but our customers are like, what if it did this? And so we're constantly kind of adding tweaks and stuff. So
cool. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, of course.
Dean LeBay, you are up. Welcome.
Hey guys, Dean LeVay, LA capital BAY down here in New Orleans. First of all, Beth, great presentation. I actually watched it on YouTube here so I could make sure I understood everything. I'm still at 65. Technology sometimes gets away from me, so I'm trying
Dean,
to
you got to
figure
give
it out.
yourself credit.
Yeah.
Dean, we've met Dean on Clubhouse in the pandemic, and every single technology tool, whether it's TikTok or Instagram stories, this man is a natural storyteller. Dean, give yourself a little bit credit.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Shawn. You're very kind. Listen, I wanted to ask you. It's probably kind of a weird question, but I want to ask it because it's important to me. You had a restaurant, but something happened. You had an aha moment that made you shift. What
Yeah.
was that? What was that moment? What was it? What was that?
Yeah, that was interesting. It's without getting too deep, I mentioned it in my restaurant. We opened before COVID, and we, it was my own restaurant, and in total honesty, our first year was a struggle. We really were up against some tough times, and so it wasn't sort of experiencing the success that I had become accustomed to experiencing in the other great concepts I created. So it was a little dicey. And I remember this server went out on the floor, and I like overheard him talking to a table, and it was like, oh, it was like nails on a chalkboard. He was saying all the wrong things. And honestly, it felt like he had my life in his hands, right? I've got my own skin in the game, and like really gonna be screwed if this thing doesn't make it. And so it dawned on me all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, the thing that matters most to me, like training and employee development, is something I was failing at in my own restaurant, something that I'd been so good at for decades with other people's, businesses and other people's money. And then it got to the point, and it's because the restaurant industry has changed so much, and it's become harder and harder to train. It's like who was thinking about gluten and allergens in the 90s? No one. We didn't know anything about that. And social media and all the things that you have to keep up, like that's a whole nother job. So it's like all of a sudden I'm like, I had to like stop what I was doing, and I realized, I'm like, why am I failing at it? And it was because I was still trying to deliver my training program on paper, and it just didn't work. All restaurants are turning to technology to manage their business. Why wouldn't they turn to technology to help develop their employees? And so it was a very eye-opening moment for me. And then COVID hit. So, am I allowed to say that might be the best thing that ever happened to me? But, but it, a lot of, good came out of that for us, and we pivoted our restaurant, and our concept changed, and now we're killing it, which is, I'm going to knock on wood, but pretty cool story.
Beth,
Thanks
I would
for
love,
sharing that.
great question, Dean. I'd love to hear, as someone doing founder-led sales. I mean, like I said, I'm so grateful that you came, and we can look back on this and be like, remember when Beth was doing was doing the pitching? How cool is that we had her on the show?
Yeah.
Can you talk about partnerships? How do you view partnerships in the restaurant tech ecosystem?
Yeah. I have some great partners. I'm thinking of that as like how I'm going to actually grow my company. We recently received an endorsement from the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, so the state association. And it's awesome because, well, first of all, they discovered me, but it's interesting because I've been a member as a restaurateur for a long time. And now I'm still a member as a restaurateur and now an allied partner, which is unusual. But they aggressively pursued me. And finally, we, cut a deal where they wanted me to be an endorsed partner. And they've gotten, they see the value that what we're doing, the value it can bring to their members. And it is a big problem in the industry. And so they announced about 2 months ago that about their partnership with Shifty, and our phone has been ringing off the hook since they announced it. It's been really cool. And because of that, we've also identified we're in talks with 3 or 4 other state associations. We're not big enough to handle all the state associations yet, but we've kind of strategically chosen a couple of state associations, which is cool. We've been accepted into a couple broadliner distributor, preferred vendor kind of programs, and like, Gordon Food Service. We're just about to, finalize a deal with Cisco. And those guys are no joke, right? I mean, they don't let just anybody in. They put me through the paces and they really vet it. So these are very validating things. I think we've got a lot of people in common. I've been working with Popcorn Go to Market. I've also working with the One Gold Consulting guys. It is a tight knit community, this restaurant tech. It's pretty funny. But yeah, partnerships are how I'm growing my business.
Yeah, something that Matt Wampler told me. Matt Wampler is part of this community, founder, CEO of ClearCogs. He told me first-time founders obsess over product. Second founders obsess over distribution.
Wow, that's interesting. That's funny. Yeah, that's a good one.
And it's yeah. What's that?
So I'm just curious. That means that you're founding, so the product's key, and then you realize second time around the product isn't as important as somebody buying.
Well, it goes back to no one's coming to tell your story.
Yeah.
Like distribution, partnerships, like you can build the best product, and like ChatGPT can be phenomenal, but if no one knows about it and it's not downloaded, like it is a phenomenal product, but like the distribution part is so key to getting people, the right people. To your point, I think one thing I do want to come back to, you said that Shifty is available for all restaurants, but that doesn't mean that it works for all restaurants, because you have to have the right restaurateur. And like, I think that's something that we don't talk about in the sales cycle enough, of like, who don't we serve? Well, we don't serve people that don't believe the internet exists, that are there printing sketch. Like it's not that we can't help them. It's just, we can't waste our time, because there are people that do need our help. And like the quicker that we can qualify the people that we don't help, I think the more better work that we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a hard lesson learned for me, because, I've been about as scrappy as a founder can get, as far as like whatever it takes to like add locations. And I would sell to anyone. And I really learned the hard way, because I convinced a couple people. I'm pretty convincing. And when I do get the chance to talk to an actual restaurant operator, like, I have a pretty high close rate, like no joke. It's, 80-90%. But that's not necessarily a good thing. Obviously that doesn't scale, but also like I said yes to people I shouldn't have. And then I tried to get them implemented, and all it did, it took a lot of my time. It took a lot of my effort, my blood, my sweat, my tears, my, waking nights, and then only to, to have them throw in the towel 3 months later, and all that was for nothing. So it really is, now we're kind of we're vetting our customers, and like, I try to actually talk them out of it. I'm like, if your managers aren't going to, get behind this, like my managers in my world will make or break everything I'm doing. Like employees love it, bigwigs love it. If the managers don't get behind it, it's never going to go anywhere. So I like really try to convince restaurant owners that their managers can't handle it. That's really where I focus my attention.
Awesome. That's really great. And the first call I had this morning at 6 a.m. was a group of business professionals that we have a weekly call. We were talking about how essential it is to be clear on intentions. Because a lot of times people come up and say, I just need a job. Okay, well, that's very tactical, task oriented, but what's your intention? Is it because you need to pay your bills, because you have a spouse, because you have children, because you want to eat? Like, what's the actual intention? And what I'm finding, and it's fundamental everywhere, is what I think is kind of what you're getting at, is if you're not clear on what the restaurateur is after, if they don't know their intentions, because sometimes people just want a job. I just want to show up and work. And I'm like, what if we were able to sell this at a price where we could all retire? Can we point our attentions that way? And we can't do it if we don't have training, by the way, because you're doing everything over and over and over, and you're stuck in this labor loop. And it feels in some ways like I worked really hard. I did something today. Okay, what did you do? I worked really hard. But what did you produce out of it? Was your intention to work hard, or was it to have a successful business? And I keep coming back a lot of the times to our turnover because of training issues, or because the people that work for us aren't really 100% clear on the vision I have for the company, which is my fault. We got to say it over and over and over, because if you don't continually speak it, it disappears. And people get stuck in that day-to-day routine and forget why they were there in the first place, and it's hard to inspire. But if you can do that essentially, and if this what you're providing here kind of helps streamline it and lower the cost, it could actually be a really powerful tool all around for the entire company, because you're taking all that cost away. So you can really
Yeah.
focus on the bigger picture and keep everyone's intentions pointed in the right direction. So they're all rowing in the right direction instead of, that's the biggest problem, right? Everybody rowing in a different direction.
Yeah.
I'm so far, I think I have everybody in the company rowing in the same direction, just can't get them in the same boat yet.
It's hard. I ask restaurant owners that all the time. Like, do your employees like know what's your mission? You know, what is the vision? And I mean, they very rarely do they get to answer the question and say, absolutely, every one of my employees and know what I'm passionate about. They don't.
I try to speak it weekly in a video that I send to the whole company, but then when I look back, I'm like, I think 13 people of our 300 employees watched it. So it's like, how do we get that more effective?
Shifty can help you with that, speaking that video, and it can send your little video selfie, and then you can see exactly who looked at it and how long they watched it for.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Am I allowed to try to sell the guests on the show?
You can 100%. You're a founder. This is a business. This is a business show. We try to sell. We sell products all the time. Promote. No one's coming to tell your story.
That's funny.
I mean, full transparency. We had our manager meeting yesterday for Cali Barbecue, our restaurants here in San Diego. And we were just talking with, Eric and Lisa and my wife, Howard and Steven, of just like, I do so much storytelling. We have so many shows. We do so much work helping other brands tell their story, helping other restaurant groups, helping other podcasts, doing YouTube shows. But like, I have forgot to just promote Cali Barbecue that we are hiring. Like, we're hiring. If anybody's watching this, Cali Barbecue is hiring talented people, frontline workers. If you want a job, we are hiring. We have an incredible team. But I need to get back to Mike's point. Like, as visionaries, we have to continually recruit, but also let people know. Like, there is a reason. We need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And there's a reason why sports teams put logos or sayings in the locker room, because it's like over and over and over and over again. We need to be reminded, what's the mission? What are we building? How are we taking care of the guests? How are we doing a better job?
It goes away if it's not spoken. It's just how we are as human beings, because we get caught up in things. I was in a 2-day conference a couple of weeks ago where it was completely about business narratives, which is essentially storytelling. Like, oh my God, I hear this all the time. Why am I here? And something hit me that was really important. Is, if you remember, and you probably don't, from 6th grade, we all studied like the plot mountain and the elements of the exposition. I got to teach you, you're probably getting there close, strong with your kids. My kids hated it, but I was studying it formally. And in the elements, there's always the speaker, and then there's the champion, the major actor, minor actor, and the adversary. And those are the 5 essential roles you hold. But if you're the speaker, why would somebody want to listen to you as the speaker? And by the way, are you also the champion, or are you trying to make somebody else the champion? So like Beth, on this call, you're the speaker, you're speaking all this. Who's the champion? And the issue is, didn't clue into me for a long time, is why would anybody care if you're the speaker or not if they don't know what your accomplishments are, which you spoke beautifully and eloquently for everyone to hear anytime they want to click this on. But even inside the restaurant, I can go in and speak about this product. But they're like, why are you telling me? And I know already, because I already texted all this to my whole leadership team, because I already know what's going to happen. Oh, Mike wants us to do this. No, I want you to check it out. So I just finished it with like, there's no request. Just take a look, because I think it solves some of our problems. But I have to be careful as the speaker how many times I've spoken something that was misinterpreted and I wasn't clear enough on it. But it is true, Shawn. If you're not speaking that vision over and over and over again, you don't know what people hear, listen, or what they're doing. And like, why are we doing it that way? You told me to. When? Like 6 months ago, you mentioned something about it in a text. Ugh. Okay. Let me clear that up.
That's funny.
Well, Beth, if people are watching, if they're listening on Digital Hospitality on the replay, we appreciate it. How can people reach out to you? LinkedIn is best, or website? You let us know. What's the best contact method?
Yeah, LinkedIn is awesome. I'm always there. And our website is shiftyinc.com. I've got lots of ways to click a button and get to me that way as well.
Amazing. And let's go ahead and do a quick tip, takeaway, homework assignment. Elizabeth, start us off.
Yes, I loved Dean's question and the story that you told in response. I would even say, if you're speaking to an owner operator, that's a really great story to start with, because when you said that you overheard this waiter, service member, whatever, saying words that you realize, wait, they're holding my success in their hands.
Mhm.
And so I thought that was a really powerful way for you to be able to take on more responsibility. And even your response to Michael or Shawn, when you said that about the video that Michael was going to send out, that you could see who had watched it or not. That's giving power back to the ones in charge to say, listen, this is my life. This is my livelihood. You are on the front, literally on the front lines of this. And I need you to take it as seriously as if it was your own. Because someday you may have your own business and you're going to want people to fight for you, just like I want you to fight for us and for this and be part of the team and all that stuff. Anyway, I just thought that was a really, really great story. So anyway, thank you so much, Beth, for coming today and sharing this with us. So that was my takeaway.
Yeah, and Beth, I love the restaurateur. The fact, like, that is such a competitive advantage that you have to lean into. It's our competitive advantage as a media company. Like, I am a restaurateur that actually helps brands tell their story. It's pretty easy for me to know what restaurants want to watch or listen to. Yeah. So yeah, please, definitely great tip, Elizabeth. Mike, what's your takeaway? Ungaro.
So one of the background conversations we had in the company for a long time is how to gamify things to make them more effective. And I don't think I know that we haven't really come up with a way to do that effectively with training. So now I can see there is one. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Thank you.
Dean LeBay.
I like everything I'm hearing, and I think what I'm hearing mostly from this app that you've got and being able to do video, it's kind of like LinkedIn. It's about engagement. It's about the more people that engage with that platform while they're using it, the more successful they're going to be. And it's getting them to engage with it. Kind of like on LinkedIn, how, if you get people engaged, you start telling your story. But I'll agree with Izzy, keep telling your story. You've got a fantastic story because you've got a viewpoint nobody else has. There's a lot of people right now, there's a lot of tech out there. And a lot of people restaurants buy tech and they think their world's going to change just because they implemented or logged on and added it to the software stack. It just doesn't. That's not how it works. You have to get engaged. You have to be included. You say, what's that, Shawn? You say, be curious, get involved, and ask for questions. And you got to get them to start asking questions. I think it's. I don't even exactly sure what you do, but hell, I'm ready to buy today. So anyway,
Dean's going to open up a restaurant just to buy Shifty.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome stuff, Dean. Mike Biseglia, thank you for producing. We appreciate it. Congrats on the 1 year. I can't believe it's been a year. That's amazing. We need to do a better job at the media team of celebrating these accomplishments, but congratulations, man. We're grateful to have you on the team, and thank you for helping get these shows set up. Go for it.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Shawn. And with that, actually, before I was doing this, I was producing some social media clips for Fish Factor for Mike and Garo.
There we go.
Latest episode with Chris Lowe, and has a really cool story about Walt Disney and gum that I actually was just cutting up that will go out in a couple of days.
It's probably in a 3-ring binder because it was a while ago.
Exactly. I agree a lot with what Elizabeth said. Leaning into that story early, I think, would be awesome. And then homework for me, I need to, for people that join Pitch the Tide, I was telling this to Beth before the show started, all the assets you get, but I need to include a transcript of this. I think would be super helpful because you have the video and it's like there's a lot of things said and you can skim back and forth. But if there's a transcript and maybe there was something Mike and Garo said and you could find it faster. So I think adding a transcript for the guests would be a good
idea. Did you just give yourself homework? That's fantastic.
I did. Yeah.
Well, there's robots that'll do that for you, right?
Yeah. Oh, trust me. There'll be a robot helping me do this. But yeah, we have to add that in there. But yeah, that's my homework for me.
Amazing. Beth, go ahead, close this out. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of the journey. Any places, any trade shows you guys are going to be at the end of this year or next year that we should look for Shifty?
Yeah, trade shows are a thing for sure. I'm going to a lot of them. I don't have any on the docket right now. I just finished a bunch this year, but I'll let you know when I know which ones I'll be at for sure. Are you guys there always?
We have a community that shows up all over the country. So That's why we do these Rising Tides calls every Wednesday, every Friday. We have people, Jason Berkowitz, Troy Hooper, Matt Wampler. I mean, we have so many incredible, Laura Wilbur. We're going to, and speaking of that, anybody that's going to be in Las Vegas for Restaurant Leadership and Development Conference, Mike Ungaro will be there. I will be there. We have a whole community there. So we have a LinkedIn community. We have a Slack community, Instagram community, share updates. But Beth, anytime that you guys are going to be somewhere, let us know.
Yeah, that one I should really check out. I've been going to some of the like technology focused ones, and I realized I don't think that's the right place for Shifty. I think leadership and development is a better fit for us. So I might have to call you and ask you about that one. But
I will report back for sure.
Yeah. So 2 quick things. One is I just think it's important that everyone knows that I don't like seafood.
What? Stop it.
Isn't that funny?
No way. You got to lead with that. That's fantastic.
I know. Well, I just because Mike is on the call, I had to make sure that he knew.
I sell about 200 tons of shrimp a year, and my daughter's allergic to it, so we're right there. With
I sell 100 lobster rolls a day almost, and I can barely bring myself to look at one. But I like some seafood. I joke, but anyway, that, and then my big like takeaway, and this is kind of like if there is a drum that I beat, it is absolutely figure out if you've got a good or a bad employee culture. It's all about employee culture. And so many restaurateurs, in my opinion, they're so focused on the bottom line that they're not taking care of what's important. And if you're taking care of your employee culture, that'll fix your bottom line. And it's and so many restaurateurs have that backwards. And then you can't assume that everybody knows stuff. So it's okay to dumb it down and even point out the obvious to your employees, because most people don't. Like I always say, well, did you tell your employee what you wanted them to do? And it's never a yes. So
amazing.
So
Beth, thank you so much. If you guys are watching this, please reach out to Beth if you know a restaurant group, if you are a restaurant group that needs it. This is very, very, as companies scale, Beth will no longer be doing the demos. So take advantage of the time while it lasts. Hopefully it doesn't last long for your sake. We wish you nothing but success. Thank you so much. And as always, guys, stay curious, get involved. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you want to join the show, please join us. Go to betheshow.media/rising tides every Wednesday, every Friday. And if you're going to be in Las Vegas next week, meet up with me and Michael Ungaro. Send me a message on LinkedIn. And please go check out Shifty. Thank you, Beth.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
I'll see you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Great show, Beth. I think just